No, I didn't cut my hair, still as long as before. Anyway. The other day I read an article where the managing director of the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra said in 2018. I know, it has been 2 years. Sorry. In 2018 said that video games were an access point for especially young audiences to get into classical music. I have a lot of opinions about this, so let's go. Classical music are all over the video game world, from Tetris or even Mario Bros. Arcade. There are like a lot of videos of people talking about how many times we have listened to a classical piece in a video game and we even haven't realized. Maybe you think, well, those are all old video games and everything, so now that's not really what happens. Okay, let's go to 2014. Five Nights at Freddy's uses this. They do this really clever, they change the instrumentation and they give that extra horror touch to the game. I like Five Nights at Freddy's. So I proved my point. There's classical music on video games. Okay, bye. Well, that's not quite my point. What happens with video games that have their original soundtracks? How is that an access to classical music? When composers started to take seriously the music for the game industry, they got inspiration from the classics. At the very beginning, video game music was very limited by its hardware. I need the help of my good friend of Google because I can't English. You know this?
Hardware.
Thank you, Google. So at the very beginning, video game music was very limited by its
hardware.
And Manami Matsumae, Yoko Shimomura or Koji Kondo, they knew this very well. Manami Matsumae told to the BBC that for facing the limitations of writing music for just 3 channels, she got inspired by Johann Sebastian Bach. Let me explain this really quickly. Imagine that you just have 3 voices and you can't actually use long notes, you can't use long melodies with long notes. You have 3 voices and you need to use short notes. What did she do? She listened to Bach, she analyzed him, so she uses Bach counterpoint. Bach's counterpoint is the essence of the early music from Manami's music, and not just her. A lot of composers from the era, they needed to use this Baroque technique to face the technological problems that they had during this time. With technology becoming more powerful step by step, the music track could handle more realistic sounds, and we came from sounding like this to sound like this. Now we have more orchestral and realistic sounds, but the composers still get inspired by the past eras. So, for example, Chris Velasco, he is the composer of Assassin's Creed Unity, Dead Kings. Chris said on an interview that before starting to write the music for this video game, he had to listen to plenty of Bach, Handel, Telemann, Vivaldi, all of the Baroque kings, basically. If you go and listen to Assassin's Creed music, it doesn't sound Baroque at all. What he did really clever was to use the elements, the specific elements that are really characteristic from this era, and that he brought them into a more modern sound. Reading all of this, I realized that how developers gave really specific instructions to Chris. Even the music making, everything needs to be context, because it happens during an era. It's not just random music, it actually has a context, and I think that's really important to know how they actually think about all of those small details. The point here is not just to mention the impact that classical music had in the video game industry. So we're gonna go back for 1 second to what the managing director of the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra says, that video games are a point of access for classical music. We proved that there's actual classical music sounding on soundtracks of some video games. We proved that composers nowadays, they still get inspired by the classical composers, but I think the actual phrase has to be: video games are an access point to the orchestra sound. People want to listen to live concerts, so do we want people to go and listen to the orchestra just for the purpose of appreciating the sound of an orchestra and real life music, get people to appreciate what musicians can bring to society? Or the only purpose to orchestral musicians or professional musicians is to play the classics? Music is really powerful, so both worlds are just driving the audience into a world of emotions. And I think it's wonderful. I think it's amazing. It's beautiful. The purpose of both of them, it's the same. It's to transport the audience to a new world of emotions. So before I finish this video, I want to read a small paragraph of an article that I don't agree 100% with what it says, but I think it's interesting and it brings me a lot of questions in my head, and I think it's just good to read it. Before there was gaming, before there were screens, Wagner coined the term, I can't English, but it's worse. I can't German. I know.
Gesamtkunstwerk.
Wagner coined the term
Gesamtkunstwerk
to describe the way his music, when combined with plot, acting, staging, lighting, and other atmospheric drivers, created a total art form. And now it says, through gaming, the concept has taken on a new life. I think it's quite of a big statement to say that, but if you think deep about it, I think those elements kind of are on the gaming experience. And much in the way that Wagner's direct musical influence can be heard in the heroic soundtracks of games like Zelda or Final Fantasy,
Gesamtkunstwerk
has also seen an unlikely development of interacting. So, what it wants to say here is that gaming has brought a new concept to this total art form. We become part of the music development. So when you travel from one place to another, the music changes. If you talk to a character or if you talk to another one, the decision that you are making at some point in this game or blah, all of those actions that the gamer is taking, all of those actions have a direct interaction with the music as well. I kind of understand the idea or the point of that paragraph, but I want to know, what do you think about all of this? Actually, have you discovered any classical piece through your gaming experience, or the other way around? I want to know your thoughts. I want you to share what you think, and leave a like if you liked it. Subscribe to this amazing channel. That's it. I hope you have a really good day. Enjoy, take care, and see you next time. Bye bye.